The U.S. has begun formally shutting down its military operations in Afghanistan nearly 20 years since the September 11th terror attacks started America's longest war, whole generation at war. This withdrawal comes amid peace talks between the Afghan government and the Taliban, but there are serious questions remaining as to whether Afghanistan's security forces are ready to take over and the Taliban's intention. ABC News senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell has been in Afghanistan quite a bit. He knows it well. He cares about it. He joins us live from Kabul with more. So, Ian, here in America, people hear about the withdrawal. The vast majority of people are saying it's time. There, what's the biggest concern with the U.S. pulling its troops from the country?
Three words, and they're all the same: security, security, and security. I mean, we're down in the market today talking to people. They want peace in whatever direction things go in, but people are really concerned because although the U.S. presence here is now relatively small, I mean, 2,500 active, although the numbers are slightly higher than that, and they ebb and they flow, and they're probably going to go up throughout the withdrawal process, there is a sense that the U.S. is a guarantor, at least, of some stability in parts of the country. But already the security situation has deteriorated, even while the peace talks have been going on. People are concerned, women are concerned, ethnic minorities are concerned, and I think there's just a general sense of what may come to pass. Could there be a repetition of the kind of violence we've seen here in Kabul and elsewhere in the country as the US troops withdraw? I think there's a lot of concern here.
And you mentioned those peace talks between the Taliban and the Afghan government. There are people saying that there may be a breakthrough. I mean, we've been hearing about peace talks for years there. What's the latest on the peace process?
Yes, that's right. And the difficulty is because the United States has already said what it's going to do, and you may well compare it to perhaps playing a game of poker, and you've already shown everyone what your hand is. It doesn't really give you much of a position to negotiate from because they're going anyway. However, these talks have been going on, now trying to involve the Afghan government, because remember, these were just bilateral talks between the Taliban and the US government because the Taliban doesn't recognize the government here in Kabul. However, the Taliban were supposed to take part in this conference that was supposed to be happening right now in Istanbul. They refused unless they get 7,000 more of their prisoners released from jail here. The government had refused. There is an indication that perhaps that will now happen, and then they will perhaps attend the Istanbul conference. However, I was speaking to one of the key negotiators today, a former female MP, a very, very brave woman who's had 2 attempts on her life. She's been part of these talks with the Taliban, and she says because the US has already said what it's going to do, the ability to force the Taliban to abide by any kind of peace agreement has been severely diminished.
And Ian, that raises a question. America's longest war, right? And the Brits were there as well as other European allies for so long. So what do we accomplish? I mean, I trust your opinion on this. You've spent a lot of time in that part of the world, know it well, as I say, care about it a lot. What are we leaving behind? What did this generational war accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, there are two views here, really. There's the glass half full and glass half empty, and I'm struggling to be the glass half full person, but I'm finding it difficult. Yeah, we were here 20 years ago as US CIA paramilitary forces, together with Northern Alliance rebels, started to push the Taliban out. And we were there in Kabul on the very first day that the Taliban fled. And if you've ever witnessed the liberation of a people, it is a remarkable thing to see. Suddenly, the return of hope, of women being able to remove at least the burqa, the oppressive veil that many of them are forced to wear, the ability of girls to go to school, the ability to bring in direct investment into the country to restore some kind of hope. Again, the former female MP I was speaking to today, who's a negotiator, said Kabul was like a graveyard. There were people in the city, but they were practically dead. So the fear is that the Taliban will return, that they will come back to Kabul, they will reinstate their strict interpretation of Islamic Sharia law, and that the rights of women will be removed, that the rights of minorities will be removed, that the country will be ostracized, and that poverty will be rampant, and all those terrible things that Afghans have had to live with for so long. The glass half full view is that actually the Afghan security forces are now much stronger, that there will be some attempt at unity, if only to try and keep the Taliban at bay, and that perhaps after 40 years of war, Afghans are looking down the abyss once more and they'll hold back, and they'll come to some kind of agreement. My fear is that could be wishful thinking. There is a potential for a civil war, mass flow of refugees out of the country, and for the women and the girls, that has been perhaps the biggest achievement of the last 20 years, providing some kind of stability. It's something that George Bush talked about, something US presidents have talked about. Yes, we came here to deal with al-Qaeda, the perpetrators of the 9/11 attack, but it became something much more. And again, that phrase was used today. They feel betrayed by the US withdrawal, and they fear all those gains could be lost. And of course, for the mothers, the fathers, the brothers and sisters of the US servicemen and women who fought and died here, they've got to ask themselves the question, what was it all for?
What was it all for? I was covering the White House when this war began, and for the first several years, I've been there a few times myself. And the idea was that we would bring Western-style democracy to the people of Afghanistan. And as you say, it's a long way from happening. Ian Panel, on the ground in Afghanistan, thanks very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.